Now we need to construct this seat plan view portion of our seat plan page widget, and it's not very difficult to achieve this kind of formation. We can simply use rows and columns and this can be achieved. So as you can see, we can simply take a column first, and then we can take a text widget, a divider, and these items, these are rows actually, and each rows will consist some widget, and we'll be creating two widgets actually. One, a seat plan view. So this whole section is a seat plan view, and these small buttons are seat widget. So we'll be creating another widget for each and every seat, and this seat is simply a container, and each seat will have a label and some decoration maybe. As you can see, there are two types of shadows on the top and the bottom. This is some sort of neomorphic design view, and we'll have some other abilities for our seat views so that user actually can press these buttons. So we need to provide some gesture detection, and also these seat views will have different colors. So the available colors will be like this will be the selected colors, and this will be the booked that already have booked. So booked seat will be the red colors. So first of all, we will create this seat widget, and then we will create the seat plan view widget. And in the next slide, I have the seat plan page view, the very seat plan widget, seat plan view we have created. So we have an app bar, center column. We already done this. The booked and or available, that means this portion over here. And the second portion, we have already done that with a value notifier widget. And now for this portion, we will have a single child scroll view first, because we need only this portion scrollable, because sometimes we will have more seats to accommodate inside this portion. To do that, we will have a single child scroll view, and by taking a single child scroll view, only this portion will be scrollable. This book seats and selected seats and button will not be scrollable at all. And so inside this single child scroll view, we will have a seat plan view, and seat plan view will consist of seat widgets. That means each of these are seat widgets. And simply we can achieve this by taking a list of string, and we will construct this list for AC business and economy and the non-AC type by simply creating this list dynamically. So we need actually two for loops. The outer for loop will define the rows, and the inner for loop will define the columns. So let's go to the code and create our first widget. That means the seat widget. So let's create a new widget. Inside, I'm going to create a new directory for that, and I'm naming it as custom widgets, because all widgets we are going to create are custom widgets. So you can put all your custom widgets in the custom widgets directory, and inside the custom widgets, I'm going to create a dot file name seat plan view, and this will be eventually a stateless widget. So this is a seat plan view widget. I'm importing the material.dot file, and inside this seat plan view.dot file, I'm going to create another widget that will be the seat widget, that little button widget. You can also put that seat widget inside this custom widget, but it's not actually necessary, because seat plan view and seat widgets are very much connected. So it will be wise to put these two widgets inside a single dot file. So let's take another widget. So outside the seat plan view widget body, class body, I'm going to declare another stateless widget that will be a seat widget. And this seat widget will take few parameters as constructor. So that there will be a label, and also there will be a boolean is booked. By this we will actually show different colors for available and booked seat. And also we need to have a function, and the function will take a parameters of boolean and on select. I'm naming the function as on select. So we'll pass a function from outside to the seat widget, so that whenever we click any of the seat widget, we can call this function and we can do something when this function, where this function is actually defined. So let's add these variables to the constructor as a required field. So required this dot label, required this dot is booked, and required this dot on select. Let me format the code by pressing Ctrl Alt L. And now let's come to the build section, build method section, and actually we need to have this seat widget as a stateful, because each set will have its own state. Because as you can see in the figure, each of these are seat widgets, and not every seat widget have the same state, and this state will be changed. So available seats will be like this. Whenever user click a seat, it will turn green, and available or booked seat will be red color. So there will be some condition where we need to actually change the state, and that's why I need to convert this seat widget from stateless to stateful by simply pressing Alt enter and convert to stateful. And now inside the state object, I need to declare one boolean value that will be selected equals false. So by default, none of the set will be selected. And from this build function, we will simply return a container inside an inkwell widget. So there will be an ontap function. We'll define that later. And the child of this inkwell should be a container. I want to give us constant margin for this container, so that should be 8. And I want to define the width and height of each seat, that means this container. So width will be roughly 50 and height will be also 50. And the label, the container will have a label as a child, and we want the label at the center of this container. So we want to specify an alignment for that. So container widget will put its child at the center, both vertically and horizontally. Now we have a decoration. So the decoration will be a box decoration. So box decoration, and we need to define the color of this container. And as you know, this container can have 3 different colors: green, red, and a white color. And that will actually depend on these parameters, is booked or select or something like that. So I can easily say the color of this container will be, if I'm just calling this widget means this widget class here, because I want to access these variables of this class. So widget dot is booked, that means if this set is already booked, then it will have a color set booked color. Otherwise, now if it is not booked, then this container can have two more colors. One is like green and another is empty or white. So now I need to check another condition by considering this property selected or not. So in the else block, I'm just checking that if it is selected, that means if it is not booked, then I'm checking if it is selected or not. If selected, then it will be a seat selected color or it will be seat available color. So this will be the color of this container. If it is booked, then it will be red. If it is not booked, then there are two possibilities. If it is selected, then selected color. Not selected, then the available color. And this color are defined in the colors.dart file inside the utils directory. So now that we have a decoration and we have a color for inside that decoration, then I need to give some shadows, and we need to provide two different shadows at the top and at the bottom. And to do that, we need to define an argument for box shadow. But before I do that, I need to make the corners of this container a little bit rounder. So the border radius will be a circular of 8 pixel. And now let's come to the box shadow argument. Box shadow argument needs a list of box shadow. So there is a situation, if you look carefully in this diagram, these booked sets will not have any shadow. The shadow will be applied only to available and selected sets. So now we have to check another condition, whether it is booked or not once again. So we will provide a shadow or not, because box shadow will take a list of shadow or null. So if it is booked, then we'll pass null, and if it is not booked, then we will provide some shadows. So I'm checking. So I'm sorry, widget dot is booked. If it is booked, then no shadow, that means null. And if it is not booked, then I will provide two different shadows inside a list. So now inside that list, we will have two different shadows, each of box shadow objects. So box shadow, and the box shadow class arguments takes a color, and a color should be, the first color should be white, and then the shadow will start. We want to provide an offset. This is an offset object for that, and the shadow will be started from the top left corner and few pixels back. That means -4, maybe -4. So if it's a container, I'm coming back to this diagram again. So if it is the container, so this is the 0 0 position, and the shadow will start from -4 from x-axis, maybe here, and -4 from y-axis, maybe here. So this is the position that the white shadow will start from. So the white shadow is starting from a little bit higher than the actual size of the container. And the lower shadow, that means the black shadow, will be starting from this 0 0 position to few pixel more. That means maybe x will be 4 and y will be 4, and this time this will be positive values. So now we have an offset for the white shadow, and we need to give a blur radius, maybe 5, and a spread radius of 2. You can actually play with these values to get different types of shadows. These are just roughly, I have just used roughly some numbers, arbitrary numbers, that's it. So this is a shadow that will provide a white shadow, and now I will have another shadow that will be another box shadow object, and the box shadow will have a color of gray, not actually full black but gray. So colors dot gray, and I am using a shade of maybe 400. And when you use actually shade, you cannot use the const keyword. That's why I didn't give any const keyword before this box shadow object. Just to check, if I press const, it will give an error. So just to remove this const keyword from here. So this will be the color, and offset will be just opposite of this one. So I'm just copying it and paste it and removing the minus signs, and the blur radius and spread radius will be as same as the previous one. So this will the shadow and the decoration of this container. So now we are done with decorating the container, and now this container will have a child. So after the box decoration constructor parentheses, I'm just providing a child for this container, and the child will be a simple text, and this text will be the text will be a sit label, and we already took the sit label inside of this sit stateful widget. So I will just put this label inside this text widget. So that will be widget dot label, and just give some style for that, and the style will be, so color, the text color will be as you can see, two different text colors. So this text color is black and these are white. So whenever it is selected or booked, we have a white text color, and if it is available, then we have a black text color. So the color will be, if selected, then it will have a white color, and if not, it will have a gray color. Okay, then I'm passing another argument for font weight, and the font weight will be bold, and lastly the font size will be 16. And I guess we are done with this sit widget. Now it's time to define our sit plan view, which will consist of multiple sit widgets.